You're live. I suspect you're live. Okay. I have to see and make sure it actually takes, and I don't have to do two or three of these. Okay. The Challenger video, one of the two I did last week, someone complained that I was all over the place. I guess they didn't like the fact that I was giving a bunch of backstory and information about like other boots before just showing the actual boots or whatever. Well, I'm going to do that again this time because I feel like it, but also because I think people want more information typically, not less, when they're about to drop a couple $100. Now, these boots are not as expensive as those boots, but by like less than $100. So neither of them is like a huge significant purchase per se. Now, I had bought some wingtip boots from other companies before, or well, one company successfully that fit. The other one, the Allen Edmonds, that I had to return. How much different are the Allen Edmonds from these? I don't know, because I returned them because they were too small, and I don't know if they still have that model available. There was a pair from Loke that I was interested in a year or two ago, and they were closer to, I think, $500 a pair, and I don't know if they were completely worth it, because I guess Loke, you either have the premium line, which is worth it, and then the lower line, I assume that for $500, that's closer to their premium line. So maybe someday in the future I'll get the Loke ones, but in the meantime, I could get two pairs of these for the price of one of those, and since I don't intend to wear these as often, I figure that's fine. Split the difference, get two colors, and especially with Thursday boots, see how they fit. And so this time I went up half a size from my true size, when Thursday usually says go down half a size from your true size, but I found that with most of their models, the true size is wrong and I need to go up. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, briefly then, also because I mentioned the Thunder boot in the title, the Thunder boot is slightly different than the Challenger boot in that the heel in these is more tapered, and in those ones they're going to be more flared. These will still look kind of flared to your eye in this camera. I guess those are even more flared. So for those who don't like the narrow logger heel, I guess maybe they're trying to introduce more stability, and they don't have a toe cap. Sorry. They've left off the toe cap, which I might prefer, but I already bought these, so I'm not buying those. But I thought I'd review slightly. The one thing that I noticed is that the heel stack on these is a little bit taller than the Nick's boot. Does it need to be that tall? I don't know. Can I get the shoe guy to shave off some of this middle bit when they attach a new cap if I need this replaced eventually? Maybe. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, the undercarriage will still have this sag where they added the extra arch support. I've only worn these for about 4 hours, so I'm not ready to do a wear review and discuss these at length yet. And I did get these in a second color, so I did videos about both of those. And so I'm not going to go on and on and on comparing them to Nick's boots and all that in this video. But I want to show and mention that I'm aware of that because I saw the Carl Morawski video, like many of you, if you landed here, might have done. And he's hyping them as a maybe. But again, they will be slightly different than the Challenger boot, but neither of these is a dress boot or a boot I would consider an office casual boot. I don't know how many people are going to try and use them for rugged outdoorsy stuff, and how many of them are going to try and wear them kind of more uncomfortably on asphalt. But they are different in that they have more leather and less of the foam on the inside than the typical Thursday boots. Now, this is, of course, the flagship, the Captain. This is not the typical color. This was one of the other waxed flesh colors. I've done a review of this one. I did a review of the other rugged and resilient leather. Again, the Captain being not really what I wanted, because people consider this kind of office casual, and I don't, and especially not this outsole. So if you have the Captains and you're thinking that they're dressy enough for semi-formal occasions, they are not. You might have the ones with the different outsoles and a slightly nicer leather. They might be a little more borderline office casual, but I still wouldn't wear it to a wedding or whatever. Okay, so without going overboard about all of the details of the captain boot, but here we have the foam all the way through to the toe, not just a half liner at the heel. And then similar to that, the one that I thought would be a little bit more elegant, but is actually less than anticipated, I guess. The Hero, which again I've done a review of this, but again when I bought this one, I knew it was a waxed flesh with this commando sole. There might be Hero versions that are more refined, but you can see here we've got a lot of contrast stitching, which again can look cool, but not necessarily more dressy or more formal. Here we do have eyelets all the way up instead of the speed hooks, which again, speed hooks are typically a work boot kind of thing, but people just like them because they're lazy or whatever. They don't want to tie their shoes all the way. And this has more eyelets overall, so they've added smaller and more eyelets. They've still put in a lace that's not really a dress shoelace. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing, foam interior, but no toe cap. So with your pants over it, they'll still look like boots, but I don't know. Will they look less like army boots, but still kind of like work boots-ish? One of the things I've heard, a lot of people say is, well, Thursday boots aren't meant to be work boots. To a degree, almost any boot can be worked in because that's where boots came from, pretty much. But if you have a nicer, prettier one that cost you more, you don't want to scuff it up so much. Whereas these, you're not really worried about scuffing them as much unless $200 is a lot of money for you, and you still don't want to mess up your boots for whatever reason. But again, I wouldn't be too paranoid about this waxed fleshy kind of stuff. I wouldn't necessarily use them as work boots for anything fairly heavy duty, but I also part of the charm of this is supposed to be when the wax comes off and they look all scuffy in the first place, right? So there's that. But of course, I bought them because if we do actually get some rainy weather here, might work okay for that. So of course, the boots I did way back when that I've had about 2 or 3 pairs of these in different colors or whatever. Now I have 2 for sure. I ended up having to return some of them because of the sizing. This I had to get larger. This I got true to size. This I bought smaller, and this one is now true to size. So with the wider toe box. And then this one I had to go up half a size, which is now, it went from being too small to kind of too big. And I had to put a neoprene thing in there and see if that works out over the long run. So they're kind of all over the map. But this one, like I said, the President model, no contrast stitching, no cap toe, the flat laces, the true outsole with, you can see the stitching. It's not a channeled stitch. It's just a stitch on there. But these are definitely meant to be office casual, dressier boots. You could still work in them a little bit, especially if you want to break them in or scuff them up or whatever. But this is close to being what people are talking about when, they say office casual. It's not showy in that, contrast stitching and other bold features kind of way. And I do, like I said, this isn't the only color of this. There's probably better models for this comparison than a yellow tannish kind of thing. I don't think most people would wear a yellow tannish kind of thing for an office casual shoe, but, and again, the sizing, in my opinion, much more accurate. I do have a shoe tree in this, so it is kind of affecting it here. So I don't know what's going to happen there, if I'm going to get a premature kind of wear spot or a hole at that seam or not. But we don't have any kind of reinforced toes on any of these, I don't think, except for the cap toe is has an extra layer of leather. Typically if a boot's not steel toe, most people don't wear through the toe anyway, but Thursday just likes that cap toe look for, you know, almost everything, I think. And I don't usually want it or need it. Okay. So this is what we're comparing the wingtip mostly to, even though I talked about these other boots for 10 minutes. I was going to say 3 or 4 skip ahead, but apparently skip ahead 10 minutes if you're bored already with what I'm talking about. And what was I going to say? Oh, and of course the Goodyear welt thing and the blah blah blah. But of course there's no bottom stitching that's the same on this. It looks like there's a groove for it there, but it's not actually there. Yeah, same with the Captain, and whereas this, of course, has stitching and a super heavy duty longer outsole. Okay, so these, one is just called color number 77, and the other is called dark oak. One of them, it said, you know, limited stock or whatever. So I had to go with, I had to get that one for sure. The other one was maybe just more of an impulse buy. Like I said, yeah, usually I'd be wearing a sport coat and a tie or something to do this kind of a video. I'm a little underdressed. Again, this you could still wear with denim jeans and that kind of thing. Not meant to be as dressy as a true wingtip boot, but these, of course, are inexpensive wingtip boots, so I don't know how nice they're going to be, or if they'll even fit. Okay. Or if I can wear them with regular socks. A lot of dress boots, they intend you to wear them with dress socks. That's not going to work, is it? Oh, maybe. Okay. So nothing up the sleeve. Paper. I prefer to wear regular socks with boots rather than dress socks because you're not going to see the Argyle pattern or whatever anyway. But I will mostly be wearing these with kilt hose because I got them for that kind of thing more, and maybe tweed outfits more than regular office casual kind of use. I wanted that old English look, so that's what we're after. And which color goes to which? So this is the 77, which is similar to what they call the whiskey, I think, in the Challenger series. And I'm not sure what they would be called in the, they are in boot bags, but they do not have the usual little inspected by card for some reason. Or maybe it's in the other boot, I don't know. Okay, so we have ourselves a Merry Little Christmas. And so it's got kind of a mottled, not quite distressed look. I don't know what you would call that exactly. And we have, they're long and skinny, which is kind of typical of dress shoes. So again, since Thursday doesn't typically offer wide widths, I might be kind of stuck with a boot that's a little too long rather than one that's way too narrow. Again, I haven't tried these on, but just looking at that, you can see, yeah, I think going up half a size was the right call. It might be a little bit on the big side. So again, might not work very good with thin dress socks, but given the way they line up overall, yeah, I think 7.5 is fine. I think this is closer to what I would call a 7, because this is a 7, and this doesn't look huge to me. Maybe a little bit huge, but not kind of optical illusion-y, where, again, it looks big until you put it on, and then your feet are smashed, right? So, and we do have foam down through, but not really soft, comforty foam in the toe at all. So get used to that. Yeah, I think that's one of the places they're skimping. I'm not sure exactly where. Again, these weren't the standard $200 because they added all these broguing panels. And some people get confused and think that all this fancy stuff means that they're formal shoes. They're not formal shoes. They're casual shoes. They have a derby lacing system that's an overlay, not a closed Oxford, blah, blah, blah. I'll try and put them on even though I don't have a proper sock. Yeah, that should be all right. Yeah, a little bit long and pointy in the toe, a smidge, but not like 3 inches too long like this one. Like in order to get this wide enough, and it's like I said, it's borderline too wide, I had to get like more toe than I even really need for hiking. So yeah, this one, I think it's a safe bet to go up half a size from your true size, true being I don't know, Converse sneakers or Vans or Birkenstocks or LL Bean. I don't know. I mean, I just kind of base it on the shoes that I've worn the most. And so, like I said, this is supposedly half a size bigger than this and fits about the same. As close as I can gather by just putting it on and not lacing it up and not walking around and, you know, all that. Usually I'm a little more paranoid about, you know, not trying them on unless I'm on a rug. I don't have a rug in here, but for that half a second, I'm not that worried about it because I don't think I'll return these. Because like I said, once I put it on, I was kind of like, yeah, that's about what I expect it's probably going to be. And there's a little seam there. I don't know what that is. But again, you have the stitching here, but no channel. You have it even says the size right there in case anybody thinks I'm lying about how small my feet are. As if I have a reason. Then that little thing that wears off pretty quick here. I don't know what that's supposed to do. And imagine, I don't know if it's the exact same leather. I've shown these boots billions of times. But after like pretty much one wear, these Wolverine Boulevard ones took on all this kind of patina, which is kind of why I returned the Challenger version that might have been this same leather. So they have that kind of burnished look or whatever. That's just part of it, that it's supposed to get even more intense. And then when you, I don't know, condition them, maybe that darkens back up a little bit, but overall it doesn't stay that same brown. So let's look at the other one, see if we notice anything weird or abnormal. A little bit of creasing, but I don't think they've been necessarily tried on before. If I can get the shine off the boot. Again, instead of a cap toe, we have, well, a wingtip version of a cap toe, right? So technically, so I would assume this is one piece of leather, not two. This probably ends. I don't know, but this does not have a reinforced. No, it's just a regular soft toe. And the leather, Thursday Boots leather is, people go on and on about it, but it's actually kind of thin, which is why most people are saying they're not really work boots, but not all true work boots have typically terribly thicker leather that you would expect either. So again, you can pretty much work in any boot to a degree, because again, that's the whole point of boots. But if you're buying these, you're probably not working in them. You're probably just wearing them to a casual-ish wedding or a music kind of festival, or out to dinner would be fine, because you're getting that dress shoe look. But again, I would be wearing, because with tweed trousers, you're still covering over the fact that it's a boot. So I might wear something that shows off the fact that it is a boot more often. You could do that with your breeks if you're into that kind of thing, or in, like I said, my case, I would be using this with kilts more often than not. So anyway, so I don't know what else. I'm going to make this a nice long video just because, but we'll go on to the second pair. Compare the two colors, and this one is the dark oak. So I expect it to be darker and more oaky. Oaky from Muskogee. Okay. So here we have 3 morsels of paper. And we don't, again, seem to have a title card of the quality control people or any extra laces or anything. That's it. Just paper in a box and plastic bags. Now, how much difference is this color from that color? Not significantly, but how they wear might be a thing. They're obviously darker, more of a chocolate than a whiskey. There is a bit more activity here where the tongue comes down. Now it's not smooth. Now it has this pebble grain, almost reminiscent of a goat skin. Might be a goat skin for all I know. And they put the pebble grain up around the collar, and they put the pebble grain here back on your back stay or counter or whatever you call it. And you have your, again, no speed hooks. I didn't really point out the eyelets before, but that's okay. No speed hooks, round laces again, but definitely a different style of lace, a more dress lace than their usual Kevlar ones that are in the Hero and the Captain. And in, I think, some of the models of the President, but don't hold me to that. Pulling out extra foam. I assume, yeah, same thing. Just the foam in these is almost non-existent. Everybody talks about the overall comfort of Thursday boots, but I can feel these aren't going to be that comfortable, but they're also not going to be my daily wear again or anything. So this should be the exact same size as that. Hopefully one isn't too randomly weird different than the other one. Of course, I grabbed the wrong one to do that. But yeah. So 2 the same size. Like I said, they should both fit about the same. Again, I went up half a size for this one as well. Just took a gamble and assumed if one fit, then fine. Otherwise, I'd have to return both. They finally included both of these smaller boxes into one larger box. So if I did have to send them back, it wouldn't be a total hassle at the UPS store like the last time. I had to send back 2 different sized boxes, and the guy wanted to give me grief and aggravation and all that, which I'm more than happy to complain about again. Second boot, second bag. Like I said, I guess I'm not showing them as much as I could. Now here you still have that welted stitch, but it's a bit more recessed than this again. So again, looking a little more refined, a little more elegant, but still technically a casual boot. Keep that in mind for all those YouTubers who call everything that requires or doesn't require but goes with a tie as formal. Many outfits that go with ties are still casual. If you need real help, you go to The Office and watch the scene where Andy says Connecticut casual or whatever, and Stanley says Connecticut casual is just Ohio business. This is more like Connecticut casual. But it's not a true New York business shoe either. That would be a slightly different category if you're talking about Wall Street or whatever. Okay. I think this one might have been a try on. I don't know. There's a little bit of a dimple there, but that could just be from handling and shipping or whatever. I don't see too much overt evidence, but this one does have it has more indentation going on here already. So I don't know how that's going to wear, or if that was somebody else already walked around in it. It's very slick here, this panel, the finish of it, and then that's contrasted with this embossed pebble grain look, which is probably, like I said, it's meant to look like maybe goat hide, but I doubt that it is. I doubt that it's natural hide texture, but it could be. I don't know. Whereas, yeah, this is a slick finish feel too, with again none of that. But I don't know if they are all Chrome Excel, same as this, probably. I don't know if they're doing some different kind of tanning thing to get this look or what. You know, I never ask any questions about these things. I just blunder my way through. So if it starts, you know, totally looking and behaving like some other kind of boot, we'll assume that whatever. But I'm sure it's probably Chrome Excel style of leather. Whatever other options they have. Because like I said, the cost wasn't super high, but the cost was still a bit more. So I'm assuming they're doing something to keep the cost down to not make this a $300 boot. But where, I don't know. There's kind of a rough spot here that you can feel, but it's very small. Because otherwise, yeah, these panels are smooth. And like I said, there's a little bit of wrinkling there. I'm inclined to believe somebody tried these on, but and you can see another rough spot there. There's kind of a scratch. I didn't do it. You saw me open the bag. And you have to kind of really look in there to see the stitching. So you can see where the stitching's a little bit not perfect, but not terribly pronounced either. Some spots where the coloration is a little bit lighter maybe, but I'm not seeing anything significantly horrible. Of course, like I said, I don't really know what exactly, I mean, you know, the welting and the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. As long as this part stays attached to this part, I'm typically okay with it, you know. But they, like I said, they made an effort to kind of camouflage or disguise it so that your eye is drawn more to the upper pattern than the stitching pattern. That's the whole point of the wingtip kind of thing. So, okay, I yabbled on for, 10 minutes longer than anybody's likely to watch. They're all going to skip the first 10 minutes and maybe watch most of the rest. Don't know, but if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Again, this was just like the least expensive option for a nicer shoe as far as I could tell that should work okay. I have this other pair of wingtips that they do have the more of the commando sole than this one, and they're comfortable pretty well for about half the day if you're out for a full kind of festival walking around kind of thing. By the time lunch comes around, your feet might hurt a little bit more than you'd like, but if you were just wearing sneakers anyway, it's so I don't know, we'll see how they do. Since the next festival isn't for months and months and months, maybe I'll wear them for the holidays or something and try and do a follow-up review sooner than later.